evening, everyone. Welcome to the Monday, February 8th, Lebanon Board of Works meeting. Our first order of business will be the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, now move on to the roll call members. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
For Mayor Gentry.
Present.
Becky McClure. Present. Bill Stoner.
Present.
Dick Robertson.
He's excused.
Oh, he's, okay.
Oh, there he is. He's on Zoom. Okay.
Oh, there he is. Okay, he's
All right,
present.
move on
Alan
then.
Milburn, sorry.
Oh, present. Apologies, sorry. Move on to the approval of the minutes from our previous meeting. Are there any edits or changes to those minutes? Okay, would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I make a motion we approve the minutes.
Approve, is there a second? Motion and a second, all in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Minutes are approved. All right, we'll begin with department head reports. First up is Police Department, Chief Morgan.
Good evening, board members. Since our last meeting, the Lebanon Police Department has responded to 549 calls for service. 16 people were arrested in that same time frame. 3 for operating while intoxicated, 4 were wanted on a warrant, 4 for possession of meth, 2 for domestic battery, 1 for resisting law enforcement, 1 for possession of a controlled substance, and 1 for an unlawful possession of a syringe. 16 handgun carry permits were sent off to the state for the final approval. On January 27th, Officers McCloskey, Brown, Vickery, and Wright completed the patrol rifle course. This course covers everything from the nomenclature, disassembly, assembly handling, manipulation, malfunction clearing, marksmanship tactics, and then they finish up with the shooting qualification course. All of the officers passed the classroom portion and qualified with the rifles, so they were issued the rifles. Coming up in March, Officers Sobek, Winnings, Thomas, and Custis will be going through the same patrol carbine class. The end of January, Detective Captain Dickerson attended a training with drug-facilitated sexual assaults. Our public information officers met with Joe LePage. Joe was helping them go through stuff on our website, some of the stuff that we're wanting to do. So I wanted to make sure and thank Joe for that. Our goal is to have an easy-to-use website that's entertaining somewhat, and also has links for the public to hopefully answer some of their questions by just clicking on the links, directing them in the right places to go get their questions answered. That's all I have.
Chief, any questions from the board?
No.
Any questions from the public? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next up is Fire Department, Deputy Chief Baird.
Good evening, Mayor, Board of Works. Since the last Board of Works meeting, we've had 123 emergency calls for service. We've logged 357 training hours. We've completed 21 commercial inspections and installed 1 car seat. All the LFD personnel participating in the Fire Investigator 1 will complete the state practical and we're going to exam this Wednesday, the 10th. Throughout the month of February, all the shifts will complete a hotline awareness training at the Boone County REMC. We'd like to thank Boone County REMC for being a great public safety partner, train all the agencies in Boone County. On February 1st, we began an application process for 1 current opening. The hiring list will be used for the next 2 years to fulfill future vacancies. Currently, as the time I left the office, we have 75 applicants so far. That's it.
Thank you, Deputy Chief. Any questions for the Fire Department?
No.
Any questions from the public? Okay, thank you, sir. Next up is Parks Department, John Messenger.
Another tall guy. Good evening. We're finishing renovating the interior of her cabin right now. We're focusing on cleaning up and refreshing the basement. A lot of people didn't know the cabin has a basement. It's got a basement. They used to hold lodge meetings there, but we're working on it. And then we'll have other work on the outside of the cabin done when the weather breaks. Looking forward to that. The hiring process has started for 2020-21 season. We will be hiring part-time lifeguards and concession stand employees. Open interviews were held on January 30th. And we have one more round on February 13th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the park office. We had 15 interviews on the 30th, which was very encouraging, and we hope to have many more on the 13th. There again, you have to be 15 years by April 1st or older to apply. Current and upcoming programs, our visual snowman building contest is still going on until February 22nd. Please submit your snowman pictures to parks@lebanon.in.gov, and the winner will be announced on the 23rd. We had quite a few this last heavy snow.
You jinxed us at the last
We
meeting.
had one up until then, and yeah, it's like, let's extend that a little bit. Yeah, I'm done with snow though, so hey, I think we all are. We have teamed up with Let's Go Sports again this year. We will be offering Tiny Hitters T-Ball, All Sports Champs, and All Sports Champs. Both programs are designed for 3 to 5-year-olds. Visit our Facebook page for information on how to register. That won't interfere with anything of the Little League going on. This is a younger age group, kind of an intro. Little League is also registering right now, so go ahead and you can get to the Little League website or our website and we'll get you in the right direction. Registration is currently open for our spring pickleball league. The league consists of 3 divisions: men doubles, women doubles, and co-ed doubles. Visit our website, LebanonParks.org, for information on how to sign up a team for the league dates. We are in the process also of planning a spring scavenger hunt to take place in March. Hopefully this is an opportunity for people to get out and enjoy the nice weather, which we'll have in 30, 40 more days, right?
Yeah.
That's all I had.
Thank you, John. Any questions for John from the board?
No.
Anything from the public? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next up, Engineering Department, Kevin Krulik.
Good evening, board members. Updates. I know it seems like a long ways away when you look outside, but we did receive our final contracts for our Community Crossing Matching Grant Program from the state today. Those are the funds that will match the Whit Road Bridge construction as well as the resurfacing of roughly 20 streets throughout the city. So we'll keep you posted on that as obviously as the weather turns. We will get started on the resurfacing projects depending on contractor availability. Other things going on, active living projects are rearing up, even though we're a long way from, it looks like we might be a long way from construction season. It's never too early to start our right-of-way acquisition procedures. We are currently working to acquire right-of-way along Riley Road west of Sam Ralston, along Whit Road from Lafayette Avenue north to the bridge over Small Reynolds Ditch, where that Whit Road bridge replacement will happen, as well as then along Elm Swamp Road between Anderson Lane and the Auburn Meadows subdivision. So trying to fill some gaps there where we have some higher pedestrian activity. I mentioned the Whit Road Bridge, talk about that a little more. The plans are now complete. Bidding is scheduled to begin later this month. I will be asking for your authorization later in the meeting to get that process started. And moving forward, remind everyone that bridge construction is expected to take 45 days. We are looking at a full closure, and that construction won't take place until sometime in September or October. We are also working on collecting responses for inspection services associated with that bridge construction that are due this Friday. So we'll hear more about that in the next coming weeks. And then again, I mentioned it earlier, but we now have our final contracts from NDOT on the Community Crossing Matching Grant Program. Also talking about bridges, the Elmwood Bridge, we received RFPs for bridge design, and received 4 RFPs from Burgess and Nyepel, Beam Longest and Neff, Clark Dietz, and the Strand Corporation. All 4 solid proposals. I'll give you some more information later in the agenda as we get to that. But we are planning to ask for your authorization to move forward based on our recommendation. The Big 4 trail projects. DLZ is now fully under contract and has done some survey work working on extending the Big 4 trail from downtown past the city building we're in now and out through Abner Longley Park, connecting to the existing path on Hendricks Drive, which will complete the path all the way through most of the Lebanon proper city limits. Grant Street, right-of-way buying processes are beginning here in the next few weeks, so if you live along Grant Street, there's not too many parcels that have right-of-way acquisitions that are needed, primarily at the intersections, though. I believe there are 6 parcels in all that we are requiring as we get ready for road construction in 2023. Fordyce Street, also in that general...
Just to clarify too, you said parcels, but it's just a portion. We're not buying 6 houses for that.
Oh, I'm
just to
sorry,
clarify.
yes, there's 4 acquisition parcels. They are, small amounts, less than 1/10 of an acre, basically, on the corners of intersections.
Just want to clarify for those watching at home, that's all.
Yeah, no,
Yep.
thank you. I know people can get scared when we start talking about that. No, we are not we're not buying whole properties, we're just buying some additional right-of-way on the corners to facilitate the intersection upgrades. But essentially, the road will be within the existing right-of-way, except for when we get to the intersection corners where we get a little tight.
Thank you.
Fordyce Street, also a similar project, just a step ahead of the Grant Street project. Preliminary field check meeting is scheduled for later this week, and we are also considering an agreement with Fisher Homes that will include the construction of a stormwater outlet for that project. As you many know, the Cedar Ridge development is going to be happening along Fordyce Road. They'll be under construction later this spring. As part of that, they will be making significant drainage improvements to that area, and we're happy to have their partnership on building what will be a proper storm sewer outlet for Fordyce Road. That will help us to alleviate the flooding and drainage concerns along the road, as well as alleviate some of the issues that are seen inside the Morningside neighborhood. Bike park, not a whole lot of updates since we last met. Would have let everyone know that we are attending the CVB meeting, the Convention and Visitors Bureau meeting tomorrow evening to discuss donations and partnerships with them on that project. The bike park lends itself to some pretty significant economic development improvements to the city as it brings in events, as it brings in people to visit the park. So there's a good opportunity for more hotel stays and more economic investment into the community through that facility. Also, happy to report that we're about a week away from seeing comments from IDEM. So far, everything we've been working with them on has been constructive, and we are just waiting to hear back from them on their comments related to our adaptive reuse plan. But so far, the feedback has been very good, and we will cooperate in any way we can to ensure that anything that does happen on that property it protects the health, safety, and welfare of the community. Regional detention work, we are working on appraisals for land associated or near the Ken's Foods project so that we can fully build out our middle detention facility. So those appraisals have been ordered. As they come in towards the end of the month, we will be going back before Ken's to talk about a purchase of about 15 acres of land so that we can build out our full regional detention strategy. And then last but certainly not least, just talking a little bit from our inspection department and reports that we've had over the last 2 weeks. Happy to report that Sunbrook Villas, all the Phase 1 infrastructure is now complete. Home construction has also started. Sunbrook Section 2 water main installation is progressing, although slowly given the current weather patterns. Auburn Meadows Section 3, the storm sewer work is about 95% complete. The water main work is about 60% complete. We had some structural backfill issues that came up in the last couple of weeks, but those have now been resolved by the contractor. And going out to the business park, mass grading continues along with foundations and sanitary sewer on the New Cold project. I also expect storm sewer to start in the next week. On the Building 16 project, the speculative building, again, miscellaneous site improvements are ongoing there, walls are going up, and that continues on that side as well. On the Airstream project, unfortunately, we had to issue a stop work order this week because we still have some pending issues with the drainage and erosion control permits. And until those are in place, we had to tell the contractor, you can't be working. Of course, they did not have approvals to work, and that has been stopped at this point. But hopefully will be resolved in the next couple of days, and the Airstream project will move forward. And then last but certainly not least, the Pratt Storage Building and Equipment is on site pending a pre-construction meeting. They've achieved all of their required approvals, and we're just waiting for them to pull final permits and move that project forward. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Any questions for Kevin from the board? Anything from the public? Okay, thank you, sir. Next up is Planning Department, Dan Bontrager.
Good evening, board members. Planning Department activity for the last couple of weeks. We did an additional 44 building inspections and issued 31 new permits. We did have, and actually I think there's a little bit of carryover from the last report, but the first three permits for Sunbrook Villas were submitted to our office a couple of weeks ago, so they do have their first section plat recorded and are ready to start constructing homes in that neighborhood, and we would expect Sunbrook Section 2 to be not too far down the road before they'll be recording the second section plat in that neighborhood. In terms of additional code enforcement activity, that does still continue to remain strong. In terms of investigation activities, there were 74 additional activities that our code enforcement folks have done, and then also in terms of new cases, there were 16 new cases that they recorded over the last couple of weeks. So they do continue to do quite a bit of work on the code enforcement side, and certainly once we get into some warmer weather, then you'll see a lot more of the grass and weeds and things like that pick back up again. But there's certainly a lot of activity that they're still seeing through the winter months. That's all I have.
Thank you, Ben. Any questions from the board for Ben? No. Anything from the public? Okay, thank you, sir. Next is Street and Stormwater Department, Dave Newell.
How's everybody doing tonight? Other than freezing? Sorry, Joe's helped me out here. Been pretty busy trying to keep the ice cleaned off our drains, so if the snow's melting, it'll go somewhere. I'm not sure it's melting, but if it does, we gotta have a place for it to go. Thanks, Joe. We had a few stop signs down, mostly the Slick Road stuff. One of them was just, one went down at Camp Street, and a lady forgot it was there and ran it, so then they hit her into another one. So most of those were kind of combined together. We have been able to do about 10 hours of training in the past 2 weeks, so that's good. We try to keep doing that in the morning time while we're waiting on daylight, just stuff we like to do every year. We try to do that in the winter time. Let's see, we've been out 5 times since our last meeting.
Again, John jinxed us, didn't he?
Yeah, I blame Messenger. At least he gets his snowmen, I guess. The crew almost went out and built one on the park, but we held it. But yeah, we the 25th, the 30th, the 31st, the 2nd, and the 8th. So total, we used 107 tons of salt. Getting kind of thin on our salt. Everybody in the state is ordering salt, so we had to mix in a little bit of sand mix that we use out in the annexation area. So we had 11 tons of that, with a total of about $9,918 for those events. So to give you an idea. Definitely getting low on material, but hopefully they come through for us. We've never ran out before, but everybody is ordering it right now, so we're a little on edge, but we got about 300 ton coming, so we're just waiting on it. We just can only store so much at the shop's the problem, but we have been doing our interviews. We don't have 75 like the fire department, but we got 13 of them, which is up from 2 our last 2 times, so that goes to tell where some of that pay increase really helped out. People are interested in coming to work for us, which is great. We're starting second interviews this week, so hopefully we get somebody in place. We're trying to get them in place now so that they can ride along in the winter and we don't just throw them in a plow truck, so that they can get their feet wet and be safe, you know, and get some experience. That being said, we're going to present something about the new facility we're trying to acquire or build, or however you want to put it. So Joe helped me put together a slideshow so you guys could see it and kind of see where we're at and all that stuff. These are some quick pictures Joe took of left top's our old building, and then below it's kind of the new building. I'm not sure it'll be set in stone, that exact building, but that's just a general idea. That's kind of a site plan in the middle of how we'd come in off of Mount Zion Road. We go over here. Right now, our current location is 1301 Lafayette Avenue. Did some research with Steve Day's help. They built that or his dad built that with two other partners in 1967. They moved in 68, started triangle, or they'd already had triangle asphalt, but they started working out of that facility. I know the street department came there in 1984, down from Prairie Industries area. So that's the only two facilities I know of the street department's been in the whole time they've been in the city. So definitely at the old facility we do have offices. We have 3 offices, a garage, storage. We got a recycling there, and outdoor. Everything's outdoor parking pretty much for us there. Our current conditions, really, just to give you, I guess, most people's been a street department, so they know we're just dated. We've outgrown our space. We got 3 trucks sitting outside. We were pretty limited on how much salt we can carry, so we kind of run into these kind of conditions where we're sweating a little bit. We don't have enough room for our equipment. Equipment's gotten bigger over the years since the 80s, so pretty tight on equipment getting into some of our buildings, which everything fits, but except our back buildings, we can't park much equipment in there. But drainage issues, if it rains, pretty good. We get water comes in under the shop walls for some reason. We haven't figured that out yet, but and just I guess the logistics of it and where we're located. Here we go. This is kind of a sketch of what they gave us for what the new building could look like. Like I said, I'm not sure that's set in stone. It's just pretty close, though, I believe, isn't it, Kevin? I mean, I would say it's pretty okay. Just making sure I didn't outspeak what we're talking about here, but yeah, the parking spots shifted from this the whole lot shifted basically to the other side of the building, where you see that entrance and all that. It'll be on the other end of the building instead of that end, because we were lining up a drive across the street. That's the school there, and it would show how we fit behind it. Kind of a look at us if you see the pond out front of or beside this Gene Haas building. It is city-owned property. We double in size. We're in a 3-acre lot now. We tried everything we could to try to make this new facility fit where we are, but we don't have the space. Not for future growth especially, so. We're trying to get the total project to a $4.26 million project. It will help us service the business park a little better. That's one of our first stops. Not that our residents aren't either, but definitely the business park is the first stop with 2 of our trucks, because if not, the trucks pack it down and it's a nightmare. It gets pretty slick out there, so we'd be right there on top of that. Definitely gets us out of the residential. I know the other night we were out at 2 in the morning and some lights were coming on. We never got any complaints, but we were there first, but still we're kind of in a residential area. So the construction, they kind of just gave us this. If it begins in spring of 2021, we would be complete in spring of 2022. So roughly a year, I guess, by the time they do a lot of earthwork and get all that ready. Some stuff about the potential location, I guess. It gives us a lot better working conditions. We're more neighbor friendly. We're out where more of, I guess, businesses like ours are at instead of being in neighborhoods, residential. A lot more office space. I think this, just the way they laid it out is like 6 offices, which obviously we don't have enough to fill, but in the future you never know what it holds for the city. So we didn't want to get somewhere and not be able to fit in a year. So it gives us more staffing, room, I guess, to go along with the offices. It gives us a training room. Instead of sitting in a break room and getting interrupted all the time, we can take the guys in a training room, have something on the boards that we don't have to worry about getting wiped off, just be more professional and stuff like that. Salt barn upgrade for sure. This would give us a 1,200-ton salt barn, which we only get 800-ton total. If we could go 800, I believe it is, and 100% over, 120% over that. This way we could stock up in the summer, and then we don't, in the wintertime when everybody's ordering material, we're good. We don't have to order none. So that's the plan. And then for the future growth of the city, we're another 400 or whatever tons, so that would take a long time to get to that. Upgraded recycling area. I don't know if you've ever been to our facility. Recycling area is great. It's just a little rough, from over the years. It's potholes we always have to maintain. So this way it'd be a little more pedestrian friendly, I guess you'd say. They could come in, they don't go, no, they're in front of the building. We made it its own separate area so the trucks could get to it. It's just a nice location now. Still the same amount of dumpsters, just better area, upgraded area. You increase the space so we can get our indoor equipment. Everything would be inside the building for, I guess security reasons and to treat the equipment better, everything's inside. That's the whole point of the project. We're looking at, I guess this picture, you're looking at that would be the future expansion for the building on the yellow there. So that's why the lot moved to the other side, I guess, is the entrances in the parking lot, because we had to go around the pond, make sure we could get every once in a while we get big trucks in for deliveries, so we had to make sure they could get in there, and we could get in and out as well. So they moved the entrance over to the other side of the building. But the yellow line is your expansion for the future. The blue line is the fencing that would, the safety fence around the property so nobody could get in and out. The dumpsters toward the top, left, right, or however you're looking at it, those would be recycling. There's a gate that goes there in front of those so we could lock it at night so we don't get couches. And then the other dumpsters are our regular dumpsters we have, trash, brush, street sweeper dumpsters. And then there's a gate, as you can see, kind of going off the building that keeps the public out of our area so we keep people safe. They could come through the front, obviously we'll have a door up there if they need to come into the facility. 30 bays is what we're looking at, so this is a better idea of that, I guess. There's the 30 bays we're trying to, or we're putting into the facility. There's storage, there's some 7-foot gap there. It's hard to tell in the picture, but that would give us 7 foot from the one base to the garage, so we could store stuff there, like our barricades, stuff like that. So pretty much everything can be inside is the plan. That way nothing's outside. We ain't looking bad for the neighbors and all that stuff, and everything's protected. Let's see, if I'm going too fast, just let me know. That's the actual layout of the office space. We would provide some showers and stuff for the guys that we don't have now, which is a lot, would be great. Spring and fall cleanup, you get pretty nasty, and there's sometimes we're in holes, during storm or leaf season, you just get pretty filthy, and if somebody has something they could, clean up before they go home, track that stuff in their house. And it is on the women's and the men's side, I guess I should say, showers both sides. We have a family bathroom also in that space, a break room, an actual break room to itself that would have the sink and stuff and the microwaves and stuff for the guys' refrigerator. We'd move our ice machine that we already have in there, and they put a water fountain in there for us. The entrance to the outside building, we're trying to make that more safety-wise, so you can get access. Obviously, it's handicap accessible as well, but you can get into that building. You can't go no further than that room. It would ding us, and we'll come up and see who it is, timely fashion. But that way, if we do have a hostile person, they can't go no further. We've never had that, but right now they're kind of on top of Atlanta if they come in the office. So we're just, those are things we thought about. If we're building a place, let's make it safe as we can. So that's the idea. Obviously, a nice break room, where we can do our conference, we'll call it. Sorry, the other break room, but the conference room where we can do our trainings, and if we bring in other departments for trainings, we've done that. We can all sit in there and been working along with IT on that, so making it as user-friendly as we can. Plenty of office space for us, storage facilities in there. And we made that a double door for our signs, so we can get skids basically back in there. Just kind of try to think of everything we can. I'm sure we forgot some things, but pretty much we just walked our facility with this company and told them what we needed and what we were lacking, and together we came up with. We tried to make the bays, which there's just 2 garage doors on each end, so we don't have a ton of garage doors to maintain. Over the years, you just got 2 doors on each end, as far as the big overhead doors. These are just more pictures, it looks like, of the actual old facility that we had at the front and all that. They do have to build a retention pond behind us for our drainage, but it's about the gist of it, I guess. So.
Okay, great. Any questions from the board for Dave on the facility? No. Okay. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Any questions from the public?
Thanks again, Joe, for the help.
Thank you, Dave. All right, and next up, Communications Community Development, Joe LePage.
Good evening, everyone. Let's close this out here. First up, and it's something that Chief Morgan kind of touched on in his report, but one of the main priorities for the Communications Department in 2021 is a refreshed website, and that includes updated content. Many thanks to those of you who have gone downstairs and had your headshots taken. New photos are coming to the website as well. As Chief mentioned, met with the Lebanon Police Department to kind of talk through some of the changes and to be honest, being brutally honest about the current state of our site and the contents that's there, and the need for a refreshing of that site. Open to changing the look, feel, content of the site in our respective departments as well, not just LPD, obviously. The goal is to be increase our user-friendly steps and also bring kind of a sense of pride and improve the lives of the members of our city departments as well, being able to pass along way to get to their respective city departments by going to our website. Also, kind of aesthetics, look through our town. Almost 40 banners have been ordered, and they'll be placed around the square and along West Main Street, both large and small banners. Big thanks to John Mounts Graphics, the street department as well, for helping with measurements. These continue to highlight local people and their efforts. You may notice when we put those out around the square and the surrounding area there. A lot of folks are getting their pictures taken with the pictures that they were in with those banners, and so we're looking for more of the same and improving that environment of our community, heading down West Main and then replacing some of the ones that are around the square as well. So that'll be happening when the weather gets just a little bit warmer than it is right now. Our tiger statues, because of the snow that John was asking for, just kidding. They were set to be placed today. There were 5 of the 8 that are remaining were set to be placed today, but due to the snow and some of the steps that had to be taken, going to delay the drop-off of 5 of those tigers until tomorrow morning. These aren't being formally unveiled. This is more or less a soft open. They're being placed throughout our community, so the nice folks at the Parks Department can kind of get to their workspace, which is shrunk with the addition of our tigers and the concrete that has gone underneath them as well. So with those 5, we'll have 17 of the 20 will then be out in our public, with Lebanon High School, Stokes Elementary, and Central Elementary being unveiled. So again, many thanks to the Parks Department for putting weather sealant on the tigers. Hutton here at our building, at the municipal building, holding up well throughout this winter, knock on wood, and being able to put the concrete bases on as well. Video work is another one of the initiatives in 2021, stepping up those. You may have seen the Doug Jones Lebanon Legends video, but we're kind of having some other ones as well. Working on right now with the help of Ben in the planning office, our Lebanon housing update. Also, we look forward to get behind the wheel of a snowplow. Figuratively, we'll be with a camera. We'll be recording someone behind the wheel of a snowplow, and also working with LPD on some body cam work. Already we work with the fire department and their work with taking care of Christmas trees around the Christmas season. You may remember those. Looking forward to injecting several other pieces of video highlighting the great departments in our city and the great things they do.
Thank you, Joe. Any questions for Joe from the board? Anything from the public? Yep, thank you, sir. All right, that concludes department head reports, so we'll move on to old business. First item of old business is the Lexipol policy approval for the Lebanon Police and Fire Department, just the Lebanon Police Department, excuse me. And I believe we had a motion.
Mr. Mayor, some of us on the board have had some difficulty accessing the revised Lexipol policies, and the chief has kindly offered to provide each of us with a thumb drive. So he's going to do that. I would ask that we table this item until the next meeting, so that we have a chance to look at those before we're asked to vote on them.
Absolutely. So we have a motion to table. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Item is put on the table. We'll address it at our next meeting. Next up is a road closure request from That Sports Bar. I see Danielle in the audience. We had a brief introduction this last time, but we thought maybe you'd have more details on everything and exactly let them know exactly what you want the street closure request for. So go ahead, Danielle.
So I brought the map, but you guys know where we are. So I'm looking to close the road in front of us. We're the only address. The two houses, I'm going to buy them hotel rooms this time. They declined last time, but I think they realized, might be better to get out of there. I've already talked to the health department, and we're doing lots of COVID stuff and making sure everything's ran real smooth. We're limiting our numbers, which I'm still trying to figure out with them what that is. We're borrowing fencing from the city. Last year, I got porta potties, but I didn't get hand washing stations. So I've already gotten hand washing stations. I bought a couple hundred masks. I've got the head thermometers. We're going to be checking everybody's temperature. We're going to have everybody sign something saying that they're there on their own free will. All the tables will be 6 feet apart. But by opening up the parking lot and the street, and it's a much more open space. People aren't going to be on top of each other. We're going to have a whole Irish menu. It's just celebrating St. Patrick's Day. We're not doing anything super crazy.
Okay. And then, so it is 17th, correct?
March 13th.
Oh, 13th.
We're doing it on the
This is
Saturday
why-
before.
Okay.
Yeah, we wanted to do it on a Saturday.
Then March 13th, and what are the hours you need the street closed from?
So I'm hoping for 6 a.m. That's when we start breakfast.
Okay.
And we can't have music after 11, so till 11. Then we'll open up the street.
So should we give you about half an hour to take all the fencing stuff down, things like that, so call it 11:30?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay. And is there anything on the 12th, or it's all just on?
One day, we're just doing one day this time.
One day, okay. And remind me of the street name is Smith Street?
Smith Street, yeah. Which I also would like to bring up at some point. How can I change the name of that street to what I want it to be? Is that a thing?
It'd be this board, we could talk about it, so I know it's definitely kind of a unique, I don't know the whole story behind that road. I think most people think it's already your parking lot anyway, so.
Say it again?
So I think most people think it's your parking lot anyway, so
Yeah,
they don't realize it's actually a city street, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know we've talked about it before, obviously we approved the thing last year. Are there any questions for Danielle from the board?
I don't think so.
Okay, I'm glad to hear you work with the health department, appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, I know that's been a challenge for this event, so with that, would entertain a motion to approve the street closure request of Smith Street on March 13th from 6 a.m. to 11:30 p.m.
I would move that we approve the closure of Smith Street on the 13th of March from 6 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. to allow for the St. Patrick's Day celebration on that day.
We have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, that is approved. Thank you, Danielle,
Thank
good luck with
you.
your event.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any other old business come for the board? Okay, move on to new business then. First item up is Resolution 2021-01. This is a Board of Works transfers of 113 East Main Street property to the 115 South Meridian Street property. So Derek, do you want to come up and explain this to the board of what's going on here?
Sure, I can go into as much detail as you like, or as little detail as you
Give
need.
us the, not 30,000-foot view, but the 15,000-foot view.
Okay, so,
Short version be good.
short version. So this has been an ongoing negotiation with the property owner at 115 South Meridian Street, who owns the vacant parking lot that was north of the old Montgomery Ward building that the RDC purchased and demolished. So the idea all along was to explore options on possibly getting this piece of property so that when it comes time for redevelopment, we had a bigger parcel to offer. Obviously, bigger parcel would mean, we controlled probably a better product at the end of the day, and we're able to provide some sort of on-street, or I'm sorry, on-site parking as well. As you all know, parking is a contentious point downtown, so to have a new development be able to house some of its own parking was important. And that's why this piece of the puzzle, along with the Montgomery Ward building, made some sense. So round one of negotiations did not go very well. We did appraisals on both properties that were involved in the negotiation. So at the end of the day, what was on the table basically all along, just numbers were kind of the point that we're back and forth, but our parking lot that the city currently owns at 113 East Main Street, which was once upon a time where the very first city building sat, in exchange for the property at 115 South Meridian Street, along with some cash to offset the differences in the appraised value. 115 South Meridian Street is larger than 113 East Main Street. Like I said, round one, based off of the appraisals, did not go exactly as planned. So we revisited the negotiations in December and decided to look at different ways that we could get closer to what the property owner at 115 South Meridian Street wanted. We were able to accomplish that. So with that, we are here to start the process of all night making transfers and resolutions to make this deal happen.
So any questions from the board? Again, this is part of a larger effort to redevelop the downtown. Again, I know we currently use the 113 East Main Street property is public parking. There's maybe 9 spots, 12 spots?
There is 16.
16 spots.
Yep.
So we essentially are kind of transferring, in the meantime, before it's redeveloped, it would serve as a parking lot as well too. So we're not necessarily losing any parking. It actually gains what's deemed public parking at this point now with this. But again, it makes more sense just from a redevelopment standpoint to have a larger lot there, a full quarter block. So
you're just going to change it from 113 to 115 South Meridian for now?
Well,
I mean, is that the?
Well, that's part of the exchange. So,
Okay.
The tenant that owns, or actually the owner, who occupies 115 South Meridian Street, he uses that for his business parking.
All right.
He also leases spots out.
Okay.
So yeah, his lot that he will use for his personal use will become 113 instead of 115.
All right.
So the general public may not even notice much of a difference, that it's still going to be used for parking. It's not really a use change at all between the two. So before we go on, I have more questions from the board. I'm going to have Rob read the resolution, because that explains as well too. So I'll have Rob read Resolution 2021-01.
Thank you, Mayor, Board. This is a resolution for the Board of Public Works and Safety, transferring property to the Lebanon Redevelopment Commission pursuant to Indiana Code. Pursuant to Indiana Code, this board has custody of all the real property of the city, and the City of Lebanon Redevelopment Commission has been authorized to transact business pursuant to the Act in order to administer certain redevelopment and economic development activities within the city. As Derek Warren indicated, the city owns the real property located at 113 East Main Street, and that's set forth in Exhibit A attached to this resolution. The commission, the redevelopment commission that is, as defined in this resolution, has proposed exchanging the city property as defined in this resolution for another property in furtherance of the redevelopment commission's redevelopment activities as set forth in the Act. The city believes that the transfer of the title of the city property to the redevelopment commission to hold and dispose of in accordance with the Act will be to the benefit of the public health and welfare and is in the best interest of the city and its citizens. Again, pursuant to Indiana Code, it authorizes the city to transfer property to another governmental entity upon certain terms and conditions agreed upon by the entities, provided that each of those entities passes substantially identical resolutions. The Redevelopment Commission may acquire by gift any real property needed for the redevelopment of areas needing redevelopment that are located within the corporate boundaries of the city. The city and the commission are political subdivisions and thus governmental entities organized under the laws of the state of Indiana. And whereas the city desires to transfer the city property to the commission and the commission desires to accept transfer of the city property, and the city and the redevelopment commission agree that no money shall be paid by the commission for the transfer of the city property to the commission. The city and the commission anticipate that the city property shall become the commission's sole and exclusive property upon the adoption and acceptance of substantially identical resolutions. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the foregoing recitals are incorporated by reference. The transfer of title to the city property by the city to the commission is hereby approved pursuant to Indiana law. It's subject to the Redevelopment Commission's adoption of substantially identical resolution accepting transfer of the city property. The The mayor of the city is authorized to execute and deliver any and all agreements and documents that are contemplated by this resolution to be executed, delivered by the city. The mayor is further authorized to take all other lawful actions necessary in the connection with the transfer of the city property to the redevelopment commission and any other matters contemplated by this resolution. And the mayor is hereby approved to execute any other documents upon the advice of council, which approval and satisfaction shall be evidenced by the execution and delivery thereof by the mayor.
Thank you, Rob. Any questions from the board concerning the resolution?
It would this really be a city council issue?
So, you go ahead, you're the lawyer.
Yes, so the process before this board will be just transferring the property, if this board agrees, to the redevelopment commission. Then the redevelopment commission will meet right after this meeting, and they'll hear a similar presentation by Mr. Warren. And assuming that the redevelopment commission would approve substantially identical resolution that is before this board, then there is another resolution that is going before the city council this evening, and they have to, in essence, approve this exchange process.
Okay.
Assuming all of that would occur.
This is the short version?
This is the short version. Then there would be noticing of a public hearing. There would be another meeting at the redevelopment commission, notice for people to speak, of course, and then it would, there would be another resolution before the redevelopment commission.
Okay.
So pretty much the Board of Works, Redevelopment Commission, and City Council all have to approve this to make this happen.
Okay.
But because we're the Board of Works, we're essentially are the technical owners of the property, and that's why we have to approve this transfer as well, too. So,
Okay.
Any other questions from the board? Any public comment concerning Resolution 2021-01?
I just might be jumping the gun but we plow that lot, so we keep taking care of it for now?
Until it's officially transferred, yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure we were clear with that. Thank you.
Yep. Any other public comment? Okay. At this time then, I would entertain a motion concerning Resolution 2021-01.
I make a motion that we approve Resolution 2021-01 for the transfer of 113 East Main Street property to 115 South Meridian Street property.
So it should be to the Redevelopment Commission. Sorry, that was a mistake on the
To
agenda.
the Redevelopment Commission.
Thank you, Bob. Bill, jeez. We have a motion. Is there a second? Second. Motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, Resolution 2021-01 is adopted. Okay, next up will be Elmwood Bridge, recommendation for engineering services. Kevin Krulik.
Thank you. I think we can be brief on this. I realize we got a couple meetings stacked up tonight. As I mentioned earlier, we received 4 responses to our request for proposals related to the design of the Elmwood Bridge. Those proposals came in from Burgess and Nyepel, Beam Longest and Neff, Clark Dietz, and the Strand Corporation. I must say all the proposals were complete. All the proposals were thorough and adequately addressed the project approach. But as we reviewed the proposals, and I do want to thank everyone that helped us review them, the mayor, City Council President Brent Wheat, Scott Calvert, our inspector, as well as Dick Parr with the Boone County Highway Department. As we reviewed these proposals, I will say that one slightly rose above the others, as they had done a little bit more diligence than the others to determine that the bridge in Elmwood, or the bridge going from Hewlin to Elmwood, is actually noted as a historic structure in the historic district of Hewlin. It is noted as a contributing structure to that historic district. So that one did push the winner, if you will, slightly above the others because they addressed that concern. They did the diligence to figure that out prior to being awarded the contract. And then they adjusted what is a very aggressive schedule accordingly for the Section 106 permitting that will be involved with that replacement of a historic structure. So at this point, I'm happy to announce that I am recommending that Clark Dietz be awarded the design contract for the replacement of the Elmwood Bridge. I would ask that your approval tonight authorize or be subject to legal review and authorize the mayor to execute any final design contracts as they are developed.
Okay. Any questions for Kevin on that recommendation? Okay. Would entertain a motion to allow the city to move forward on entering into a design contract with Clark Dietz and authorizing myself to sign on your behalf.
I make a motion, we approve the Elmwood Bridge for the city to move forward, subject to legal review and mayor's signature.
And can you specify with Clark Dietz for me, Bill?
Yeah.
Okay. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, that is approved. Forward to getting that project going. I believe you're here for another bridge issue?
Yes, another bridge issue. All I'm asking for tonight is just your authorization to issue bidding documents for the replacement of the Whit Road Bridge. So the plans were actually delivered to us complete on Friday. All permits are now in place, and we would like to issue those construction documents for bidding immediately so that we can keep things on track for a fall replacement of that bridge.
Okay. Any questions for Kevin on that from the board? Okay.
Which bridge is it?
It's the Whit Road
Whit
Bridge
Road Bridge.
over the Small Reynolds Ditch.
This wasn't on the agenda, Tanya, sorry, it's late addition. Would entertain a motion then to authorize the city to seek bids for the Whit Road Bridge reconstruction?
I make a motion, we authorize the city to move forward and obtain bids for the Whit Road Bridge project.
Okay, we have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that's approved. Thank you, Kevin, appreciate it. All right, that concludes what I have on my agenda. Is there anything else from the board? Anything else from the department head I might have missed? All good, okay. Then any announcements or discussion from the board? Okay, and then we'll move on to concerning the claims. So we entertain a motion concerning the claims.
I make a motion, we approve the claims.
We have a motion to approve the claims. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Claims are approved. And would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Motion and a second. Judge McClure. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, we are adjourned. Our next Board of Works meeting will be Monday, February 22nd at 6:30 p.m. Redevelopment.